We've got an excellent presentation this afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you are. I'm pleased to welcome Jose Nunes, Charlie Tango 1, Bravo Oscar Hotel, certainly no stranger to those of you in contesting circles. So he's going to share some of his Top Gun secrets with us today, and should be an excellent presentation. A couple of quick administrative things. As most of you know, that we record these webinars and they will be put up on the WWROF webpage, WWROF.org. They're also the sponsors of this webinar, so check out their webpage if you haven't already. And the second thing is we will take questions. There's a little questions box on your control panel. What you do is you type in your question, hit send it to us. We'll pick those up. We will probably hold those until the end of the presentation to go through those. The other thing, we're going to go back to something we haven't done for quite a while, and that is if you have a microphone, a headset or whatever connected to your computer and you can communicate with us, we'll try to take some questions live that you can speak to myself and Jose. And how we're going to do that is everyone is muted for obvious reasons. So when we get to the Q&A session, if you want to try to speak to us on your little control panel grab tab, there should be a little icon you can click on to raise your hand. So you can do that just like you're in the classroom, and then we'll get around to you. I will go ahead and unmute you, and we'll try to take some questions that way as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot of material here, a lot of excellent stuff. So I'm going to kick it across the Atlantic over to Portugal. Jose, Charlie Tango 1, Bravo Oscar Hotel, it's all yours. Go ahead.
Okay, Ken. Good afternoon to everybody. Good evening to all. It's a pleasure to be here, and many thanks for having me here today. I'll start with the cover, why I selected this image. And I really like this image because there's a contrast between an aged, discontinued building and what I think is a sophisticated new operating technique. So I selected this image just because of that. And okay. 3 notes about my operations. And it all started in 1985 when N6J stopped in Lisbon on his way to Delta 44 Bravo Charlie. And I went to a dinner where he was, and I heard his contesting stories, and I was so fascinated that I promised myself in that moment that I would break the CQ world record, which I did from Papa 40 Echo many years later. So this is the first note. The second note is about sharing knowledge. And this presentation is about contesting secrets, and it really is contesting secrets, sharing knowledge. And after my promise to break the world record, at the time, there was no internet. We had to communicate with mail, normal mail. So I sent 3 letters to the 3 top competitors asking for their logs. There were no public logs at the time, and they were regarded as a closed secret. And only one guy replied, the number 1 at the time, the world record holder, N6AA, and he sent me his 9Y4VT paper logs through the mail. And that caused me a great impact because I said, wow, the number 1 guy is not afraid to share his secrets. And I really like that. Finally, last note, my very, very first operation was from KP2A. This was my first contesting operation. And I did not know John, so I found his phone number on the yellow pages, gave him a phone call, and asked if I could go and operate his mountaintop big station. And his answer was yes. So, if you feel you can do something, never be afraid to ask. Most probably the answer will be yes. Okay, let's go now to the presentation. And the first thing that I want to talk about is about the definition of this mode. I call this 2 BSIQ, or 2 bands Synchronized Interleaved QSO. And there are 4 reasons to call this. The first one is that one runs on 2 bands all the time, so the 2 bands there. And we run in a synchronized way if we really want to achieve super high rate QSOs, and that is key. Also, we interleave pair QSO moments. This is the interleave part. And we follow a specific protocol to achieve super high rates. because there are times when perfect synchronization will not occur, and you have to go with this protocol. So this is the definition of the operating practice. Okay, two bands. So two BSIQ means running on two bands, and because of this, one needs an SO2R setup with absolutely no interstation interference. We cannot have interstation interference, because if we have interstation interference, it will ruin the synchronization, because one is transmitting on radio 1, and while we are transmitting on radio 1, we are receiving on radio 2. If there is interference from radio 1 into radio 2, the reception is not perfect. You get delayed, or you don't get the call, or whatever, and then you break your synchronization, and there goes the super high rate QSOs. Okay, now the second part here is the synchronized, and this is the key for super high rates, as we will see further down the presentation. And in order for super high rates, and for super high rates I mean 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 QSOs per minute to be achieved, that requires almost perfect synchronization all the time. And this is done with a correct management of the 4 key QSO moments. The key QSO moments, the number 1 QSO moment is when we say CQ contest or TU, when we finish the QSO. The second moment is when we get a call. The third moment is when we send a report. And the fourth moment is when we get the report. This is basic stuff, but you really have to break this, as we'll see in the next slide. At the same time, you will only get synchronization if you do a correct estimation of the length of the transmission, and an estimation of the length of the reception. Okay, and this is very important. So you have to estimate this pair. We'll see that also in a little while. And also very, very important, you have to have a correct audio and QSO focus. You are always jumping from one radio to the other radio, and you while you are doing this, most of the times you don't know on what radio you are. You don't know on what radio you are. So you have to be sure that the QSO focus is on the correct radio. Of course, if you are using 2 keyboards, that's very easy because normally the left keyboard goes to radio 1 and the right keyboard goes to radio 2. But the audio is super important. I can operate with my eyes closed, and I always know where to go. So, this is what I mean by correct audio focus. Okay? Right. The next part is the interleaved QSOs, and this is where this start is something new. Until now, QSOs were consecutive. So I would do a QSO, and then I would do another QSO. Okay? So we would have consecutive QSOs. Two-band SIQ changes the paradigm from consecutive 1 radio 1 band to interleaved 2 radios 2 band. But we are not interleaving the QSO. What we are interleaving is pair QSO moments, okay? So if I'm on transmitting moment 1 here, I interleave with a reception moment here, so 1 and 4. So this could be here. If I go to the next pair, if I'm on reception, I interleave this with a transmit. So I'm interleaving pair QSO moments, and this is the difficult part. Let's put it this way. And finally, the key aspect, what I call the operating protocol. So perfect synchronization is not always possible. Here in this section, we can see perfect synchronization, right? We see perfect synchronization. Sometimes this is not possible all the time. Why? Because there are disruption. And this is always happening. Sometimes there is big disruption. Sometimes there is a very little disruption. But you have to know exactly what to do. Why there are disruptions? There are many reasons for disruptions. Maybe you are being called by a long call sign, you know, Japanese call sign, for example, or for it's a 2x3, a long call sign. Sometimes that can cause the disruption. Or maybe you are being called by a newcomer, a slow operator. Maybe it transmits at 20 words per minute. That's terrible because it's going to disrupt your pair. Or maybe you are being called by someone that repeats his call sign, sends the call sign twice, or the exchange twice, or he asks a question. He asks a QSL route, for instance. Or maybe you are being called by someone with a very slow reaction time. You know, there is time until he starts sending his call sign, and that can cause disruption. Or maybe the pileup is too heavy, and you just have difficulty in getting a call sign from the pileup. Okay, so all these situations cause disruption in the pair. Okay, and when that happens, you have to apply the protocol. And the protocol has 4 basic aspects, and I will devote some time in the next slide. In this presentation, I do not explain it totally, but I will speak about it fully because I get a lot of questions about the protocol. Okay? Fine. So this ends the definition, and now we can go to the dynamics, what I call the dynamics of two-band synchronized interleaved QSO. In order for you to understand the dynamic, you have to go from what I call a traditional block QSO, where you think of a QSO, one QSO, together with all the moments, and you have to break this until you get what I call a locked moment pair with TX dominant. So you have the traditional block QSO, you have to forget about that, and now you have to think about moments. The first moment, second moment, first moment CQs and end of QSOs, second moment get call, third moment send a report, and fourth moment get the report. Okay, you have all these 4 moments. And the next part, you have to interleave these moments together. So you group these moments. You group a transmitting moment on radio 1 with a reception moment on radio 2. And you get a blocks. So you don't have a QSO anymore. You are working with blocks. And while you are doing two-band SIQ, I don't think of QSOs anymore. I think of blocks, and I'm here. And in order to have synchronization, you have to achieve what I call a locked moment where the transmitting part is dominant. If this not happens, you will not have perfect synchronization. You will have disruption. So this is the dynamic. You have to go from a traditional QSO into a locked pair with TX dominant, okay? So this is really, really, really important. The next part, so you know, the TX element must be dominant. And I selected this image because I think it tells everything, okay? If the transmitting part, the turtle, the longest one or the slowest one, let's put it this way, is not dominant, you will not get a delay here. And because you don't get a delay here between the end of the call and the end of the transmission here, this green will be greater. And if this green it will be greater, it will conflict with the green here on the other radio. So if this is perfect synchronization. Transmit, reception of a call, nothing here, delay, and you wait, and you go to the next pair. If the green is longer, then the green will happen simultaneously with the green here on the other radio. and you will get disruption because you will have to take care of two radios, and that's very, very difficult to do, okay? Okay, also, this leads us to CW lengths of TX and RX elements, call, and exchanges. The CW time length of the QSO elements is of utmost importance for perfect synchronization. Call signs are very different in time length, depending on geographical area. For example, USA call signs are much shorter on average. On average, they have 2.044 seconds. On the other hand, Europe call signs are longer. On average, they are 2.286 seconds. Okay, this is real data from my log, my 2016 log, with 3,000 USA calls and 5,000 non-USA call signs. Okay, and also exchanges are longer from zones with 2 digits, like zones 14, 15, 16, 25, than exchanges from USA, that's just 5 or or 3 or 4, very short exchange, or a shorter exchange than Europe exchange. Also, there are many call signs, very quick call signs with just 2x1 letters. Like in the US, there are a lot of 2x1 calls, and that's very good because they are short here, so they will not conflict with your transmission time. But also, there are long call signs. Like I said, in JA, very, very long 2x3 calls. Also, in the contest, there are groups of very fast operators that transmit around 40 words per minute, and they have very short reaction times after you finish transmitting, and that's very good. You go. And at the same time, you also have groups of slow operators that transmit on 20 and 30 words per minute. So in order to find the perfect time length, it's very, very difficult because it depends on all these things that I just mentioned. And this is a very diverse ecosystem and represents a very difficult problem to find the correct time lengths of your call, exchanges, and speeds. And this is changing all the time depending on the bands one is operating and on the geographic mix of the pileup coming in. I mean, if you are operating in one band, USA mainly, and on the other band, Europe mainly, you get very quick calls on one side and long call signs on the other side. So this is difficult. If you have USA on the two bands, this is better. And also it's better if you have Europe, because things are better. And also the mix is very different. You know, if in the beginning of the contest, maybe you start on 40, you get Europe and stateside at the same time. Later on, you get more Europe or more USA. So this is changing all the time. And there's no answer for the perfect CW length. You have to test this particular condition to your geographical area, to where you are operating from, okay? If one chooses a longer TX element, there is a risk of disruption, because if you get a short call here, maybe they will repeat the call and you're out of synchronization. On the other hand, if you choose a very short call sign here, or CW element, then the green will be longer and you get out of synchronization. So this is really difficult. And you have to test for your area. I did a lot of testing, even on the simulator. I used different call signs. On the simulator, I also, well, I'll talk this in a little bit in a little while, but I did a lot of tests to find what I think is the correct call sign. Okay, delays and reactions, also a very, very important aspect, really key aspect of this operating mode. It's a key aspect because it is critical to achieve perfect synchronization. you only achieve perfect synchronization if there's a delay here, okay? So you are on one band transmitting and you are receiving on another band. Then you have a reaction time. Normally you would have a reaction time. And here you have to delay. There's a delay. You have to wait until you can start transmitting here. If you don't have this delay, if it's if the green is very long, then you can get simultaneous greens. And that's not good for perfect synchronization, okay? So if it is too short, you can have repeats like here. You know, here, very short call sign, huge delay. You know, maybe K1AR is a very quick guy. He doesn't accept this delay. He will repeat his call sign again. Oops, we have disruption here. So, and then if we have disruption, where I go first? Should I go on radio 1 first, or should I go on radio 2 first? We have to use the protocol. So the protocol has 4 aspects. I call them skip, shift, delay, and anticipating. What is this? Okay, skip. Skip is to ignore the transmit moment, okay? Sometimes, in order for you to resynchronize, you have to ignore a transmitting moment, okay? Look here, I have a transmit here and a reception, and I transmit next here, okay? But imagine this goes disruption. Maybe I skip this moment and I operate here on this radio. And I continue, and this guy he will call me again. He will wait for his QSO to the next pair. So I skip in order to resynchronize. I hope this is clear. If it's not clear, please, you can ask me again. Okay, so this is the first tool of the protocol, to skip, to jump, to forget one, ignore, or make a CQ contest transmitting again so that people will call you again. So this is skip. The second one is shift. Okay, what is shift? Shift is jumping back and forth from one radio to the other radio in order to achieve perfect synchronization. When do you normally have shift? Imagine not a perfect situation like here, but the green is very, very long, just a little bit longer, you know, just a little, it goes a little bit longer, okay? If that happens, your mind has to shift so that you are with your fingers on one keyboard and your mind, your ears are on the other radio. I think this sounds complicated, but you are with your ears on one radio and your fingers in the keyboard of the other radio. And your mind is shifting between one radio and the other because you want to focus on the hearing part, but at the same time, you want to hit the radio 2 keyboard because you don't want to get out of sync. Perfect synchronization. So this is what I call shift. Your hearing and your action has to shift back and forth from one radio and the other radio. So it's a question of focus. Okay, the other part is delay. Okay, sometimes you have to put excessive delay on an action here on a pair in order to achieve perfect synchronization. People wait, you know. Of course, you cannot put people to wait 2 or 3 seconds, but sometimes you have to put people waiting for 0.750 milliseconds or almost a second. So the protocol sometimes requires you to make a delay on one part so that you don't get desynchronized and you keep synchronization on the other hand. And finally, the last aspect of the protocol, what I call anticipating, in order for you to avoid disruption, you have to try to anticipate if the reaction, the receiving side of the pair will disrupt the transmitting side of the pair. And you do this by anticipating. sometimes there's a guy calling you, and you have to anticipate that this guy will be long or this guy will be very short. And you already know what you are going to do. So you have to, by hearing to this guy, you will anticipate what will happen next, and you will apply either the skip or the delay part of the protocol. And this is what I call the anticipating. Okay, you know, I know this sounds difficult. I try to explain this the better that I can, and this is very difficult. You really have, but if you operate on a simulator, you will understand very well what I'm saying, I think. Okay. Finally, for operator actions in a pair. Usually, while you are doing the 2BSIQ, this is easy. You only have to do 4 things. You have to hit F1 to start transmitting in radio 1, and while you are listening on radio 2, and then you get a call here on moment 2, you wait for transmission to end here, and then you go to transition mode, and here you receive on both radios. And then you start again, you push F1. So basically, there's only 4 actions: key press, copy and type, wait, and transition. And it's very simple. You just do this for 48 hours, and you can do it, okay? Right, possible 2BSIQ setups. In 2015, what I did, I had only one computer. I had a micro-ham U2R audio box, and I had personalized scripts, Whine test personalized scripts to control the focus of the keyboard. So when one radio stopped transmitting with the script, automatically the focus of the QSO field would go to the other radio. So I wouldn't, and this would happen automatically. By the way, I'm going to publish these scripts, even though I don't use them anymore. I'm going to publish these scripts after this presentation. And I only had one keyboard and Whine test. Okay, in 2016, I changed my setup. So I'm now using the xlog.net. 985K Chris is very helpful, and it really helps to implement new stuff very quickly. So I like that a lot. And also, you can use two keyboards. And also, you don't need to have personalized scripts. With 2 keyboards, it's just standard message. You have radio 1 message, radio 2 message, and you don't have to have scripts. And you don't have to have interlocks and all that. So very flexible. Just a quick overview of my setup. So I had 2 double switches, 2 stack matches, 2 amplifiers, 2 band pass filters, 2 radios, a DXLogNet logger, and 2 keyboards, and a simple audio box connected to the PTT of the radios. And that would, if I'm transmitting on radio 1, my headphones are on radio 2. If I'm transmitting on radio 2, my headphones are on radio 1. When I don't transmit, the transition part, I copy both radio 1 and radio 2. And I was not equipped for SO2R, so no automatic advanced SO2R, because I knew that I was going to do 48 hours 2BSIQ. Also, this is just a very quick view of the Madeira QTH. Please notice the negative horizon. I'm a believer of operating in mountaintops, slope mountaintops, with negative horizon in front, water in front. You achieve you achieve higher muff and very, very good results with these type of setups. And this is just the image of the one set of antennas that you just seen. So the secrets is a mix of everything that we've just talked here. The secrets of 2BSIQ. It's understanding all 4 components of the QSO moment. It's understanding that you have to pair those moments It's managing those delay situations. It's understanding the transition from QSO pair to QSO pair, understanding where the headphone focus is, where the keyboard focus is, and all that. And it's calculating optimum transmission times and trying to figure out what is the distribution of the call signs calling you. If you are in zone 8 or 9, it's one thing. If you are in zone 30C, it's a very different thing. It's fine-tuning with CW speed. During CQO wide, sometimes I was operating at 45 words per minute. Other times I was operating in 35 words per minute. And you have to to learn how to do this because it will help synchronization depending on what the pileup is. And also you have to understand the 4 basic aspects of the protocol. And lastly, you have to train. You don't need to train in the contest. I just do CQOY these days. I train in a simulator, and it's enough. You know, you train. All right. Okay. Let's continue here. The origins of 2 BSIQ. So the origins are SO2R, multi-single in-band, and UT4 UGR started this from TO7A. Although TO7A started this, it was funny because he was not really doing more QSOs than V47T and 2NT. And I found that very strange. So the thing that really led me into trying to investigate this is it was kind of funny because if you can put 2 QSOs in the time frame of 1, why is he not making more QSOs? So this was on the back of my mind. Okay, just a quick view of my road to BSIQ. In 2000, I was doing alternating run from Kilo Hotel 7 radio. So you see I was on 80 and 40. But this was not 2 BSIQ. And I was not interleaving QSO moments. I was alternating QSO. I would call CQ contest. I would get a call. And I would not call CQ contest on the other radio. So I would just very quickly alternating. But, you know, the concept was almost there, but not there. Also with F5MZN, we developed Whine test, advanced SO2R scenarios. And I was doing alternating CQs, but once again, this was not 2 BSIQ. And I was doing this, you know, in 2005. I was already doing this. In 2000, every year I would do a little bit, but this is not really effective. This does not increase QSO rates. This just replaces an empty spot on one band, and you can make a QSO on the other band. Okay. Where this really started to appear was in multi-single. You know, multi-single started to do in-band. And I wanted to understand this, so I organized in 2014 a multi-single operation with OM8A team. They did not do in-band, and I had not done in-band. So this was for all of us the first time doing in-band. I put a presentation for them with a protocol, and we made rules. And the rules were that we had a run station, and we had several in-band stations. And there's a very funny thing here that I can tell you. I think it was Ocean Mike 3 radio mic was on the run station, and I was on the in-band station. And he was mad with me because I was putting QSOs on the in-band station in between his pileup. And of course, he had to wait. Sometimes he had to wait because of the lockout, the interlock. And he was mad. And I was always telling you cannot be mad. You have to understand that you have to wait for me. The important part is not your run. The important part is the in-band. And this is where I started to understand that the longest element must be dominant. This was where I started to understand 2 BSIQ concept, okay? And of course, you know now that all these advanced multi-single stations, they can put, 3,500 QSOs more, 3,500 QSO more on the in-band. If you look at the 2014 data, Papa 33 Whiskey beat us because they did 3,300 QSOs, while we only did 2,500 QSOs. And so they add up almost 45 QSOs with in-band. So this gave an impression what would be the potential for 2B SIQ. You can maybe add up 40% QSOs. Okay, just an image of that 2014 big head-to-head multi-single between Charlie Radio 3 Alpha, Papa 43 Whiskey, and 4 Ocean 3 Alpha teams. Okay, let's go back to TO7A UT5 UGR guy, who is famous for other reasons, but let's focus on his mode. So he was not making more QSOs than N2NT, although he was doing interleave, what I call interleave operation in 2013 and 2014. He was doing that, but not making more QSOs than N2NT, who was SO2R. And why? I had to find the reason. And fortunately, he had videos, audio videos of his operating. So I went and listened to all his videos, the videos. And I selected the best rate that he achieved. So he achieved during this period 357 QSOs per hour rate. So this was his best rate. And I listened to it, and you see he was interleaving, but I was listening to it and I said, something is not right. Something is not right here. It's funny because, it's an incredible rate. 350 instant rate is very, very good, just for a short time. But it didn't sound good. So what I did, I put with Audacity audio program, I transformed the audio and his log into what I called graphic horizontal waterfall. And I picked a QSO, see the 4 moments of the QSO, call sign, send report, get report, end of QSO. And I just selected one QSO, 12 seconds. So if you take 12 seconds with one radio during this time, 241 seconds, you would expect 20 QSOs. And TO7A log only shows 24 QSOs. This is the 24 QSOs. It's only 20% increase, okay? Only 20% increase. Very, very far away from the 40% increase that I was expecting. And it didn't sound right. So I put this on an Excel sheet. So this is the QSOs going from here, and then continues here, and then continues here until the end, okay? And immediately when I put this in a horizontal graphical waterfall, I immediately found a solution to the problem. He does not have perfect synchronization. See, if I go back and forward, there's no perfect synchronization. There are times he's not transmitting. There are times, a lot of times, where he has reception moments at the same time. Delays, big delays here. I mean, this is not applying the protocol. This is very total disruption. I mean, very good rates, don't take me wrong, but disruption if you want to achieve perfect synchronization. And in this very moment, after seeing the graphical horizontal waterfall, I had an eureka moment, and the 2BSIQ concept was born. Okay, so the key is synchronization. The key is synchronization. And 2BSIQ was born in this very moment. And I went from interleave of QSOs into synchronized interleave of QSOs. And this is this is a big difference. I went from constant disruption of QSO pairs into making sure that I would achieve locking QSO pair moments. I would have information of what was going on. I would calculate exactly optimum CW transmission times, and I would apply a protocol so that I don't have disruption, okay? And I started training with a CW simulator. Okay, this was before CQ Worldwide 2015, and at the time I was using WinTest, and DXlog did not have the two keyboard option. So in order to train, I would put two computers with two Morse runners. On one ear, I would put one side of the headphone of one computer. On the other ear, I would put the other side of the headset or the headphone. And I would train, and immediately, I was achieving fantastic rates. I was up to 420 QSO hour rate, which was it was amazing for me at the time. And I advise people to do this and train. Okay, the simulator has options. You can start with just one call sign in the pileup. And I advise you, when you start this, start with just one call sign in the pileup. And this is very easy. You will do this. Everyone can do this. But you don't want to do that all the time. You do with one call sign in the pileup, but you want to go to 9 call signs in the pileup. This is the maximum that Morse runner has. It's a lot of confusion, I know. You want to train for maximum confusion, because when you train for that, then when you go to the contest, it's very easy. Well, it's not very easy all the time, but it's easier. Don't train with 1 or 2 call signs. Train with 9 call signs. Train with maximum call signs. Train for total confusion, because in the beginning it's very difficult, but when you go and do this, it's very easy afterwards. Okay. I was an SO2R operator, so this was before CQOY 2015, and I said, okay, this is fantastic, but is 2BSIQ better than SO2R? I had to answer this question to myself before I would jump and start doing this all 48 hours. Okay, so when you are doing 2-band SIQ, of course, many times you have almost two QSOs in the time frame of 1, but you don't have this all the time. Sometimes people don't call you, or you miss stuff, or there is disruption, and you only have 175 or 1.5 or 1.25 QSOs in the time frame of 2, or you only have 1 QSO. Nobody's calling you. So you know that if you do 2BSIQ, you will increase the QSOs. But is this enough? Because the multipliers are going to decrease. I mean, you are not search and pouncing all the time if you are doing SO2R. So you increase the QSOs, but you decrease the multipliers. Will this be enough? And I had to start basing. I had to have a baseline. So this was 2000 before CQOY 2015. So I went to the 4 previous years, 2010, 11, 12, and 13, and I watched and I see, okay, how many QSOs and how many multipliers. So my baseline score was 7,200 QSOs, 700 multipliers for 15 million points. And I did assumptions. Okay, let's imagine I only do search and pounce. Okay, maybe I achieve 40 QSOs per hour on average. Okay, you know, in the beginning of the contest, you can do 60 or 70, but you cannot do 60 or 7 QSO search and pound all the time. And maybe you find 0 multipliers, maybe you find 15 maximum. Okay, so this is the interval. If you do SO2R, maybe you can achieve 150 on average. You get 4 multipliers, maybe you get 9. in 1 hour. This is very good. If you run all the time, you're not distracting with the other radio, so you can achieve a better a better QSO rate. You go from 0 to 5 and so on. Okay, all the assumptions. And what I did is I calculated and I say, okay, if you add 20% more QSOs, this is exactly the same as an SO2R. And this is okay. So you can achieve maybe 40% more if you have perfect synchronization. And you can, if you achieve 20% more, you are better than SO2R. Okay? I decided, okay, from Madeira, I'm not going to do SO2R anymore. I'm going to do 2 BSIQ all the time because it's easy to get 20% more QSOs. Okay, if you are a smaller station, imagine you are from stateside. Can you do 2 BSIQ all the time? I don't think so. Because, if you are in the States, if you run, then 2 BSIQ is better than running. Okay, if you have a run, then you should do 2 BSIQ. If you do not have run potential and you go search and pounce, then you should not do 2 BSIQ. So if you are from a DX location, yes, you should do 2 BSIQ all the time because it is better. It is better. I mean, you always get a pile up. So you get 20% more than you would normally do. So you should do this all the time. If you are from stateside of Europe, it depends. If you have running, you should do 2 BSIQ. If you don't have running, you should not do. You should go search and pounce. Okay? So this depends on what your QTH is. And of course, on the situation. I mean, sometimes you will see you have to make that decision. But for me, it was clear that I would do 2 BSIQ all the time. And it's funny that you just run all the time. It's a different game. It's a lot of fun, but it's a very different game. Maybe it's more skill. It requires more skill for the synchronization, but you don't have to have SO2R skills that are very difficult to achieve. So it's a different game. Okay, I also wanted to compare both modes, and I used Charlie Radio 3 Lima operation, and so I estimated that if I would do SO2R versus 2 BSIQ, with 2 BSIQ, I can achieve more 35% QSOs, and I would achieve minus 9% multipliers. So in the end, my score would go 23%. So this is an easy thing to do. If you have 35% more, it's 1.35. If you have minus 9%, it's 0.91. 135 times 0.91, it's 23% score. This is very easy. So 2 BSIQ is better. It's better. I did this estimate. Okay. Can the single up all band world record be broken with 2 BSIQ? Let's see. Well, targeting this record is very, very difficult. It's very difficult because this record was first, it was broken by a superb operator, very good operator. It was broken in the top of Sunspot Cycle 23 with very high MUF. And when you look at Echo Alpha 8 Bravo Hotel log, 10, 15, and 20 were open all night long. JA was open long pass, Pacific was open, Asia was coming in on 20 meters. So everything was open. So there was 24-hour round-the-clock propagation. And also the QTH is fantastic. And it was sort of a unique multiplier. So a very, very difficult record to break because this cycle was much smaller And also you have to match the grade operator N5TJ, of course. But 2BSIQ opens a new possibility. Okay, so this is the isoline score. So this is combinations of multipliers and QSOs that achieve the record. So if you hit 9,500 QSO, 690 multipliers, you will break the record because it's above the isoline. But if you are here, you will not break the record. So yes, 2BSIQ can be used to break the record if you provide enough QSOs and enough multipliers. For instance, in 2015, I only made, after dupes, 8,000 and log checking, 8,910 QSOs and 625 multipliers here. So not enough to break the record. But if you look at N6J Score, he broke the record. Of course, he did not break the record because he was on zone 8, but performance-wise, he broke the record, okay? So it is proven that the record will be broken. It will be broken. Okay, we just need to have 10 meters. This year, it was almost broken, but 10 meters was dead, okay? So if 10 meters opens a little bit, we will be here, and the record will be broken. So if you go to zone 9 or zone 10, I'm convinced the record will be broken, okay? From Madeira, I don't think it is possible to break the record this cycle. I think it would be possible to break the record if I had done this in 2014, but we are going down. 10 meters is dead. There's no stateside anymore on 10 meters from Madeira, and even Europe is difficult, so very difficult to break, I think, from Madeira. Okay, let's go to zone 33. Is zone 33 still the best QTH for record breaking? Well, zone 33 is the best QTH. If you look at the multi-multi record, if you look at the multi-single record, if you look at the multi-two records, all those records, they are broken from zone 33. Why? Because they are broken in the top of the cycle. You have all night long propagation to stateside, Japan, Asia, long pass, Pacific. And this gives you QSOs and multipliers during the night. Very easy ones because the bands are quiet. There's no QRM. So very easy pile-ups. But can you do this from Madeira? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let's look at super high rates. For me, super high rates are minutes with 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 QSOs. This is super high rate QSOs, okay? If you look at my best SO2R operation from Madeira in 2012, I only had 31 minutes with 6 QSOs per minute for a total of 186. Now, with 2 BSIQ mode, you see that I achieved all these minutes with 6, 7, 8, and 9, so 1,400 QSOs. TI5W, 2,800 QSOs in super high rate, and then ZF2MJ, almost 3,000 QSOs. So super high rate minutes, you can really add up a tremendous amount of QSOs, okay? But there was a funny thing. I saw that TI5W and ZF2MJ, they both achieved very high rate, 10 QSOs in a minute. And this was strange to me. Remember, on the simulator, with difficult pileup conditions, I was achieving also 10 QSO rate per minute. But when I got to Madeira, I was not achieving those 10 QSO. And I said, why I'm not able to do that in the contest? So I went to TI5W KL9A and ZF2MJ and 6MJ minutes. And I said, it was funny because all those minutes, very high percentage of USA. Okay, that's this minute, but very short call signs. So it was funny. Okay, only USA or a vast majority of USA. So there's something here. And I went and see all the minutes. And what I saw was that if there are USA, if USA increases, then you achieve super high rates. So if I go to the 10 QSOs per minute, it's almost 80%, 100% USA. If I go to slow minutes, 2 QSOs per minute, 49% and 46% of USA. So, okay, so obviously USA provides a big boost for super high rate QSOs. And remember, two-band synchronized interleaved QSO, it's about synchronizing QSOs on two bands. And if what happens when you achieve a very high percentage of USA on both radios, on both bands? And I went and looked into that. So I went to my Charlie Radio 3 Oscar super high rate QSOs, remember, 1,500, and ZF2MJ 3,000 QSOs. And I saw that almost half of N6MJ QSOs were done, while he had 60% of USA on both radios. So clearly, if you achieve better synchronization with USA, and if you have higher percentage of USA on two bands, that is a big advantage. So a QTH that can sustain high percentage of USA on the two bands simultaneously, of course, will get a great advantage. Okay, and I also plotted the hours. So here we have percentage, every dot is an hour. So here we have percentage of USA per hour, and here we have QSOs. See, CR600, he does not go over 300 an hour. And even the best hour actually was at 289 with 0 USA, which was remarkable, I think. Of course, if we go to ZF2MJ, he achieved an incredible 374 hour with 74% USA. And you clearly see here, there are a lot more hours, big hours where there's a big percentage of USA than it is here. And when you see, when there's very low percentage of USA, the rates are smaller here, okay? Here a little bit, but of course, you have more USA. So there is a big importance to be in a QTH where you can have many hours with USA. You see, both Ti5W and ZF2MJ, they are near America, and they get 22, 25 hours of USA, while CR600, because the cycle is very low now, he only has 8 hours with 60% or more of USA. And you see the tremendous difference here. And when we look at the rates with between 40 and 60%, the rates are very similar. 182, 182, 187, 171, 173. Here it's a big difference because the hours of USA. So of course, if you are in the QTH that provides a lot of USA, it's an advantage. Why hours with high percentage of USA are better for 2 BSIQ? Well, there are 2 BSIQ reasons, because as we have seen, USA call signs are shorter. When you have a TX leading pair, the reception part is variable. The elements of the reception part are smaller. They will not be bigger than the transmitting pair, so you will not get disruption. The reports from zone 3, 4, 5 are shorter, so you have less probability of disruption there as well. Also on your side, sending tarit is much shorter than which is a very long element. You have the call sign and it's very long, and people will repeat on the reception side of the pair and cause disruption. And also USA pileups are better behaved. You know, it's better, as everybody knows, it's better to work. I mean, Europe pilots are more challenging, more interesting, but it's better to have a USA pilot because it goes smoothly. And also now, you know, because of the cycle, if you are south of USA, it's better for because you have a lot of USA. So I think it's time to fly to zone 9 or 10. And it's a pity there is no more a station in Hotel Charlie 8, because I believe now Hotel Charlie 8, because it's due south from USA, it's a unique multiplier. I believe this is the best QTH now in the world, and you would break easily the record from there, even at the very lowest of the sunspot cycle. So I think this concludes the presentation. I said, Ken, I would do it in an hour. I think I did it. And you can listen to the video. I also advise you to listen to N6MJ video, which is very, very good. And I'm available for questions, and you can talk or you can write. Feel free to ask everything. And if you remember anything after this presentation, my email is everywhere. You can write me, and if you want to explore anything, just let me know. I'll tell everything, no problems.
Okay, Jose, thank you very much. Yeah, your synchronization is pretty good. You said an hour, and we're within a minute or two of that, so excellent. Okay, folks, here's your chance. If you want to fire away some questions, the question box, just put it in there. Hit send. As I said, too, we will, if you want to talk to us live, we'll attempt to make that happen. You can raise your hand, or for some reason, if that doesn't work, just type your question, send it to me, but put a note on there that you'd like to try to speak to us. Also, if you would, put your call sign when you send your question in, and because otherwise it's just the name that shows up, and it's nice to have the call sign as well. First question, you kind of touched on it, Jose, but I want to bring this up again and see if there's anything more in depth you want to add. Doug, KR2Q asked it, and I was thinking the same thing. You know, with traditional SO2R, you're basically running on one radio and searching and pouncing on the other. The benefit of that is you tend to pick up, you know, some multipliers on your search and pounce radio. Basically what you're doing is you're running on two radios. Have you noticed any changes to your multiplier totals, more or less? How has that affected your multipliers?
Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting question. And before I started doing this, that was on the back of my mind. I was very, very lucky because I had the answer to that question. And how? I don't know, probably you don't remember this, but I think it was in 2012, I was #1 CICLO worldwide. And #2 was Echo Fox 8 Mexico, operated by UA5 Charlie, not RD3A character, but UA5 Alpha is helper, which is, by the way, is a tremendous CW operator. And he ran all the time. So he was running all the time during 48 hours. And by that, I could calculate what was the drop in multipliers if I would adopt run-only strategy. Okay, so I was very, very lucky because we were both in the same contest. Well, similar locations, although, of course, his QTH is better than mine, is the Magic Mountain. Everybody knows about that QTH, and better muff and all that. So he run all the time, and I could calculate what was the difference between my operation, SO2R, and his operation. So he had better QSO numbers, a lot less. So I could calculate the drop on multipliers. And because I could calculate the drop of multipliers, I could see, okay, if I increase my rate 10%, will that overcome the drop of multipliers? And it was the 20%. You know, it's so funny because it was exactly the 20% thing. So I knew that if I had 20% more QSOs, I would be better. And you know, we do more than 20%, so 2 BSIQ is much better than SO2R, and I could validate that with EchoFox 8 mic run-only operation. Okay?
Yeah, okay, good. And I know you only do CQ Worldwide DX. Maybe it depends a little bit on the contest too, because I know for WPX, for example, it's really all about rate, and you just seem to pick up the multipliers the more and more you run. So, okay, Louis X-Ray Echo 2 Bravo, looks like he wants to try speak to us. Just 1 minute. We'll take one question, and then we'll get back to you. The next question comes from Oleg Radio Lima 5 Delta. He's wondering, he says, thank you for the presentation. Wondering if you can make a video showing you training with Morse Runner. And then the second part is your audio box. Do you have a schematic of it, or what do you use? And is that something you might be able to share?
Okay, yes, I can. Actually, I can share that very part. Well, yes, I think I have. I can put a video of running with a Morse Runner, no problem. Actually, I think Morse Runner has a record function, so I can do that, no problem. The audio box, by the way, with Morse Runner, so what I do is I use dxlog.net logger. He has now a simulator in there. So what I do, I just use that and train with that. It's very, very easy. Everybody can do that. So we have to thank 9 Alpha 5 Kilo Chris for developing that. It's inside dxlog, so you don't have to do anything else. Just put the program and you can train immediately. And also because Morse Runner it's not real contest, so you achieve higher rates in the contest, which is funny. You know, if you see in the simulator, because sometimes the calls, you know, if you operate Morse Runner, it's not absolutely perfect like it is in the contest. So when you operate in the Morse Runner simulator, rates are lower than the best rates in the Xlog. Okay, audio box. In 2015, I was using Microham U2R, and I was not happy with the delays between the audio and the transmit and the PTT. I don't think it was a problem of the Microham U2R. I think it was a problem of the Whine test. So I just have a very simple audio box. Actually, I asked CT1 Fox United to build that audio box with me, and I think he sent me a picture on a napkin. It's a very simple thing, you know. It's no big deal. It's, you just connect the PTT to a relay, very fast relays, 5 millisecond specs for the relays, and it works fine. So, but I'll try to find the picture of the napkin that he did, and but if not, I can ask him, and he can you can put a copy of the box.
Okay, very good.
Okay, but let me
sure,
just put it this way. I knew that I was not going to operate SO2R. If you are going to do some SO2R, it's better to have an SO2R box. My box was just for 2 BSIQ. So if I wanted to do SO2R, I was handicapped. So understand? So if also make sure that if you want to do, if you are in a QTH that requires SO2R and 2 BSIQ, then you probably you should have one of these boxes. Just make sure you are happy with the delay.
Okay, so let's try to pick up live here. Louis X-Ray Echo 2 Bravo. I'm going to unmute him, I hope. Let's see here once. Okay, for some reason it's not unmuting. All right, let me try this one more time here. Oh, he's self-muted also, I think. All right, Luis, for some reason I'm not able to unmute you. You are maybe muted on your end as well. You may want to check that and unmute yourself if you're there. Are you with us? Yeah, he's okay. He's self-muted. I've unmuted him, but he's muted on that end as well. So, all right. Well, we'll see if he pops back up. Okay. Oh, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hello to everybody. Yes, I have a question. Thank you for the great presentations. I was very interested and looking forward to this. My question is related to what are the current limitations that you may have noticed on the November 1 mic logger to use this technique?
The limit. So can you repeat the question, because I was not really what the N1 logger limitations? What was the question exactly?
Yeah, what are the limitations that the November 1 mic logger
Oh,
has?
Okay, I understand. Sorry for that, and thank you very much for your question. I was not using N1 mic. I was using Whine test logger. So in 2015, I was using Whine test log, and in 2016, I used DX log. So, and in 2015, I had a micro U2R micro ham box connected to Whine test. So, I had scripts, and I was not happy with the delay. So when I would stop transmitting, my headphones would not go automatically to the correct radio. So I would have sort of a 150 millisecond delay. And because of that, the very quick guys, I would sort of miss the first character of their call sign, okay? And that disrupted me a lot of times. So I would go into disruption because I would have to ask for a repeat to the call sign. And I was very mad with that. So I was not really sure where the problem was. I spoke with U2R microham owner, who is a very helpful guy. And I don't think the problem was, I think the problem was in the connection between Whine test and U2R. And I was not happy with that. So I radically changed that, and I said, okay, I do not want to have any absolutely delay. So I went to a box that had no delay. So it has a 5 microsecond delay, which is not noticeable, and there's no one is that does not have that reaction time. So it was perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you for joining us. Great you could be on here. Next question from 3 Victor 8 Sugar. Do you recommend listening to one radio on each ear, or set up the scenario so that you have both ears on the radio that has the receiver focus? Is there a most optimized scenario, or does this depend on the rate in the bands?
Okay, so remember, in order to be synchronized, you want to have a pair in transmitting on one radio, receiving on the other radio, okay? And this is what I called a locked pair. I still have my, I can still go back here. Is everybody seeing me changing still? They can still see this, right?
Yes,
Okay. Let me go to here. Okay. So, okay. So this is a locked pair, right? So I'm transmitting here and I'm receiving here. If you are transmitting here, why do you want to be R1, R2 on your headphones? You don't want to be listening to your transmitting. So you are here all the time. And here, when you are waiting for this section to finish, so the delay, you still are listening here, okay? So in this moment, it's R2, R2 all the time. Here, transition, this is very quick, okay? Here you are R1, R2. And when you push F1 or insert or plus for this one, you go back R1, R1. So you are R2, R2. Here are R1, R2. And here you go R1, R1. Sorry, I hope I didn't mix up this. So here you are R1, R1. Here R1, R2. And here R1, R1. So what I'm saying is that you never want to listen to your transmission. You do not need that. It is a distraction. It will distract your mind, and you may lose a reception call here. So you don't want to do that. I mean, I always say, if you want to listen to your transmission, it's because you are a narcissist. Why do you want to listen to your transmission? Okay, maybe you want to listen to make sure everything is right, but you do that in an instant and that's it. But in the contest, everything is right. You are sure everything is right, so you don't want to listen. So you only are listening to both radios in the transition moment. Now, if you have perfect synchronization, that transition moment is very quick, and it's the flag that tells you that you are going to the next pair. So I think somebody asked me, I think it was X-ray Echo 2 Bravo, if I had a visual indicator. I don't need a visual indicator because I get a trigger from R1, R1 to R2, R1, R2. So when the headphones go mix, I have a trigger that I'm in transition, and I push immediately, if it is correct, to the other radio. I hope I was clear. So you don't want to have mixed audio except in this very short moment. And if you are synchronized, you don't even almost listen to it.
Okay, good. A couple more questions here. We'll try to run through these quick. Nunes Silva, I don't have a call sign with that, but it's a good question. Hi, Jose. You're doing this on CW, obviously. Is it possible to do on SSB?
Yes, I think it is possible to do on SSB. You know, N6MJ was doing this on SSB, but what he's doing is very difficult. I think you can do it with a voice machine. Actually, I think you can do this with a voice machine. So, because you don't need to go super fast. You want to have a correct transmission time. So you can do this if you use the old DVK. You know, remember the old DVK? Kilo, Alpha 1, Zulu, 5933. You can use just a machine like this, and you don't use your voice anymore. So you can do this with voice if you use a voice machine like the old DVK, and no problem to do this. You can go slow, like I said, Kilo 1 Zulu Alpha 5933. So you can operate this way the entire contest, and I think you can do this on phone, and I think it will be much better than just what people are doing now.
Okay, by the way, that question came from one of your fellow countrymen, Charlie Tango 1 Fox Japan Oscar. Okay, two more questions. Let's try to get through these quick. And this one, maybe you're going to have to do offline. Comes from Kazu, Mike 0 Charlie Fox Japan, also JK3 Golf Alpha Delta. He's wondering if you could share the screen layout of DX Log, which windows you use, what's open, and located in which part of the screen. I don't know if that's something you can do here quickly, or if not, you guys can talk offline.
Okay, he wants to know exactly the layout, my layout of
right, what you're for DX Log, windows you use, how it's laid out on the screen.
Actually, I can do that. It's in the video you can have a very quick view, but I think that's very cute. You can stop. Well, let me see if I can, because I don't have, this is not my computer, my contest computer. But I'll open this. If I open this, everybody is seeing this? Yes. I'll just stop here because I think I can stop the screen, and let me see here. And I can share here. Okay. Okay. Everybody can see this? Can you see this, Ken?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see the videos that I just do. By the way, cigarettes after sex is a very calm music that I usually listen when I'm doing the presentation. So it's nothing really stupid. Anyway, so you see here, this is the rate display. Okay, so this is the normal rate window, and here I have the time zone. So it's the map. So the twilight, dark, and light. Here it is multipliers. Here is score. Here is target. So you see that during this contest, this is world record, by the way. I was very close to the world record at the end of the first day, but then conditions were much worse, and then I was very far away from the record. Here it's radio 2 and radio 1 frequencies, just the frequencies. Here it's the recording, and here these two are super check partial. And the N+1, I don't remember how you call that. And here I think it's F9. Here it's stations that I have already worked or something like that. So nothing really fancy. No, here it's the stations that I have worked. I don't remember what is here, but I'll let you know, Kazu. I'll see if I remember. So if you let me talk about this. I put this here on top of the QSOs because I run super check partial in a different way. So I don't use super check partial to, okay, this is another contesting secret. But I don't use super check partial in the normal way that people do. People usually do to get a partial of a call. So I don't do this. I have a personalized database. So if the call sign that I'm not typing is not on this database, probably it is wrong. So I have what I do is I use my super check partial. I have a big database of call signs and DXers. Okay. So if the call sign that I'm typing does not pop up there, it shows unique, because it is not in my database. So probably it's a bust. And then what I do is I look at the call and I do two things. Okay, I'm sure that I got it correctly. I don't do anything. I'm not sure that I got it correctly. I ask for a repeat. So it's another contesting secret.
I'm glad to see I'm not the only one that did that. You too, huh?
Good.
Okay, let's finish up with this. Question from Doug KR2Q and also Mike VE9AA. They're kind of similar. So Doug asks, how many people stations in the world can achieve the necessary rates for 2 BSIQ? Is it better than SO2R? I know you kind of touched on it, from like CR3 versus North America or in the US, because you almost have to have two pilots going to make this work. Speak, if you can, to maybe operating from North America, from the US, from Canada. Could this technique be employed? Is it possible to transition between it and SO2R depending on the rates, that sort of thing?
Yes. If you are a DX, you will be 2 BSIQ. I mean, if you are DX, Charlie Tango 3, Echo Alpha 8, all the Caribbean DX countries, and the North, South America ones, Zone 9, Zone 10, Zone 8, Zone 7, Zone 33, 35, or Zone 21, Papa 3. If you are a station that can get rates, then you are going to do 2 BSIQ all the time. Even if you think that, oh, okay, I'll get this multiplier. You also get multipliers on the run, because it's an interesting thing. When you are running on two bands, and I noticed this from Madeira. Sometimes you stay longer on bands than if you only are using one band. You move quickly to the hottest band. If you are 2 BSIQ, imagine this situation. If you are SO2R, you are on 15, you move to 20, okay? So you leave 15 and you go to 20 because 20 is hot and 15 is not hot anymore. If you are 2 BSIQ, you go one radio on 20, sorry, but the other radio, now you have two options. You can either stay on 15 or you go on 40. And normally what you do is you stay on 15, and even though the rate is smaller, is lower, because you are on a marginal band, you get called by multipliers that normally call you when their propagation is also almost none, and they are looking for stations. I'll put this in this situation. So I'm on 20, and which is the hottest band. I'm on 15. And I get called by Asians. They don't have propagation to run, but they have propagation to hear me. So I get these multipliers. So 2 BSIQ, you decrease multipliers, but at the same time, you also increase a little bit the multipliers because you stay on bands that normally you would not stay, and people call you because they don't have propagation to run, but they have propagation to search in pounds. Very interesting thing. So now what Doug asks is, okay, if I'm on these QTHs, DX QTHs, I'm going to run all the time. All the time. Okay, maybe I'll be equipped for SO2R just because sometimes, you know, you maybe you want to do something, there's a blackout, and maybe you want to go search in pounds, you know, maybe you want to do that. Or maybe you know that you will get this specific multiplier, you know. From Madeira, when Hotel Charlie 8 Alpha was active, you know, the multi-multi, we knew all the time that at our sunrise, we would get them on 160. So maybe you know this. So, and they were all the time on 1810 or something like that. So very easy to find them. So in these type of situations, maybe you want to have SO2R just to work these 1, 2, 3, or 5 multipliers. But all the time you are 2 BSIQ. Okay, if you are North America, if you can run, then you should do 2 BSIQ. If you cannot run, if you go search in pounds, then you go search in pounds. So in North America, you have to have 2 modes. So your setup must have the 2 modes. You must have the 2 BSIQ, because if the band is open on 20 and 15 for Europe, you know, sunrise in USA, the band is open on 20 and 15. You want to be 2 BSIQ, you want to have 2 runs. It's going to be better. You know, go run all the time. Okay, now the run goes away. Okay, now you have to be SO2R. So if you are DX, 2 BSIQ only. If you are in a QTH like Europe or North America, then you have to select your 2 BSIQ moments, and you have to select your SO2R or search in pounds only moments.
Okay, great. Let's. I see hand raised here, Igor, and I don't have a call sign associated with it. Let's see if you're there, if you can hear us. Igor, oh, okay, Igor, go ahead.
Yeah, hello, this is UA9CDC, Igor. The question, Jose has touched the subject of geographical position and mentioned areas like zones 33 and zone 8, 9, 10, HC8. How would you rate QTHs like Delta 4 and 6 Whiskey against those mentioned before?
Okay. Very interesting question. Do you know something that I know, or it's just okay. Interesting question. I think, okay, if you are going to operate from Delta 4, and if you look at the Delta 4 logs, you will see that those logs, they have like 55, 45% Europe. If they have 55% Europe 45% USA. So if you go to public logs, Delta Fort Charlie, they are 65% US, you know, between 55, 60, 60% Europe. So you still work more Europe from there than USA. And if you've seen my presentation, you say, okay, so this is not good because you are going to have a lot of Europe and you are not going to achieve those very high rates. But at the same time, you still have a lot of USA hours. Also, the pileup is better than from Charlie Tango 3, for instance. Delta 4, the pileup is better. You have more pileup, so you have higher rates. So I don't know, to answer the question. I still think you can, I don't have an exact question, you know. If I go to zone 9 or if I go to zone 35, which one is the better? I don't know. We have to test it and see what is the best. You understand? I don't have the answer yet.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Igor, for joining us. Okay, last question. Let's see if you can hit this one here real quick. Comes from XE2B again. When you trained for 2BSIQ using Supermorse, did you use 2 PCs or use 2 instances of it on 1 PC?
Okay, so I used Morse Runner, and I had 2 PCs. And I had those portable, how do we call headphones? You know, like the cellular headphones that they have. We call that headphones, right? Ken?
Oops, sorry. Yep, I was muted. Yep.
We call that headphones. So what I would do, I would have two notebooks, and I would have 2 sets of those mobile headphones. So I would put the left computer on my left hand here, and the right computer on my right ear. So I had 2 computers, 2 Morse runners, 2 headsets, 1 side to my left ear, 1 side to my right ear. But this was before DX logger. You don't need to do this anymore because DX log, you know, you go to the dxlog.net site and you buy the log program, and you don't need to do that anymore. So you can do that with just 1 computer. You don't need 2 instances or 2 computers.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. That's it for the questions. Excellent presentation. And, you know, you hear some people saying, oh, the big guns never share their secrets. And, you know, you've obviously proven them wrong. And it's great that you take the time to pull all this together and to share it with the contest community. It's greatly appreciated. So anything else you want to add before we close it down?
Well, I want to thank everybody for the contest QSOs that you guys give me when you call me. I really appreciate that. Many thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. As I said, the presentation's been recorded. We will have it up on the WWROF webpage, hopefully in the next couple of days. And if you have any suggestions for upcoming webinars, drop me a note. If you have someone in mind to do it, too, that's always very helpful. You know, we got plenty of topics, but sometimes the challenge is finding someone who can do a good presentation. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you on the bands. Take care. 73s. Bye-bye.